Hello there, it's Ed Moses and welcome to Project Mindset. And you know, when I created Project Mindset, my whole idea was to create a better way of doing things, create a better lifestyle for people, and that's what I've gone to do. And you know, it's a funny thing, I'm going to talk to you about something that I remember quite vividly in my mind. The reason I left the corporate world, and it's called the corporate finger pointing game. And you might even be in this situation right now. You might still be working in a company in the corporate world, or just any company. It doesn't have to be corporate. And some people even see this in you know, everyday life. You know, this finger pointing. You know, and you know, somebody's always wrong. It's not my fault. It's someone else. You know, if they would have done their job, I would have been able to do mine, and etc., etc., etc. And I had quite a few different instances in my corporate career that brought this whole idea, this video together. And one in particular that I'll never forget, I was working for, it was an automotive supplier, and I was in the purchasing group, and what had happened was we were running out of the material, and I knew we were running out of this material. And so what I had done was I contacted the vendor, and this particular supplier said to me, well, you know, go ahead and put your order in, and he said, here's the problem. We're not going to be able to get this material anymore, and so when you order this, this will be the last time you can actually buy this from us. And so what this person suggested was, you may want to stock up and buy, you know, maybe an extra month's worth or what have you, so that you don't run out, you know, for your assembly facility. And I thought that's probably a really good idea, and I told him I'd get back to him. You know, I wanted to go talk to my manager about this particular issue, because I saw it being a problem, because this material was used every single day in our process. And so anyway, I went and I talked to my manager, and she listened to me and said, no, we don't want any extra inventory here. We don't carry inventory. We don't carry inventory. And I said, well, you know, we're going to run out after this is out, and we don't have anybody else lined up that can supply this. And at this point, we don't know where else we're going to get it. And she said, no, we don't carry inventory. And that was it. You know, that was the end of the story. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay, fine. You know, so I let it go at that, because I wasn't going to push the issue. You know, manager knows best, and you know, ego talking. So anyway, so I walk away and go back to work, and lo and behold, a month later, we run out of material. I have a group of management standing around me saying, why didn't you do something about this? You knew we weren't going to have any material, and you didn't do anything about this. And I kind of laughed. I said, you know, I did do something about it, but my idea was turned down. I was told no. You know, because the bigger ego knew better than my little ego what needed to happen, you know, to keep production moving. And oh, that never happened. That my conversation never happened. You know, that I never told anybody, and that's where it was left. So I was, nevertheless, I was pretty upset. I was, we'll say, pissed. And I walked home. I went home that day thinking to myself, is this really the type of company I want to work for? Is this really what I want to do with my life? Is fight this ego game, this finger pointing ego game? And I decided I didn't. And it wasn't. It probably even a week later. I said, you know, I quit. Because some other things had come up, and I was just like, you know, I've had it up to here. This is crap. Why should I have to put up with this stupidity? I do a good job, and because we have managerial ego issues, and this is everywhere, every company, people have this ego thing that, you know, I have the power and I will make the decision, and if I'm wrong, it's your fault. And you could probably relate to this. So so when I left that company, I knew deep down in my heart there was a better way of doing things. Even though right away I didn't go into my own business, but I knew I was interested in being an owner of my own business. And so, you know, although I went and worked for somebody for a little while longer, and of course ran into the same walls, that, you know, my excitement grew stronger to the point where I was like, okay, now I have to do something on my own. And I was really interested in internet marketing, internet businesses and stuff, because I saw a lot of potential in it. There's a whole broad spectrum of opportunity in that world, and I wanted to be a part of it. So anyway, I started to learn more about internet marketing, more about internet businesses, and I did some investing in businesses, and I later, you know, I decided to come up with something of my own, and that's when I created Project Mindset. Project Mindset is really, I'm a team, and what I've done with Project Mindset was I've found a better way of doing things. I've created a better way of doing things through a positive mindset or a positive mind attitude. And because I realized, you know, when it comes to the ego mind, if you've seen any of my past blogs or videos, you're going to know what I'm talking about, or maybe you've heard other people or spiritual leaders talk about this. But what I'm getting at is, when you start running your life through the egotistic mind, which is your conscious mind, that wants to control everything anyway, what starts to happen is you start to lose that creative edge, because you're so busy trying to be right or trying to prove other people wrong that you actually start to fall into a negative mindset where your reality is so busy trying to prove to the world that I'm right, that you actually become your own. You become your own problem is what happens. You become your own issue. And through that, you know, I created my Project Mindset because people need to back that off and start to realize that there's other ways of doing things in this world. There's better ways of doing things in this world. And one of them is to let your subconscious mind do its job. It's trying to do its job. It wants to do its job, but the problem is the conscious mind doesn't want to let it do its job. Now let me explain what the difference is. This will kind of explain to you why the egotistic, the corporate finger-pointing game, where it comes to play in the real world. Because the ego mind wants to control everything, what happens is frustration occurs. When you come in, you know, these situations cause a lot of frustration. Well, when you're frustrated, what it actually does is it closes up that ability to be imaginative. It closes up that ability to be creative, because all of a sudden you're frustrated, and that's all that happens is the ego takes over, and nothing else comes out of it because you are so busy trying to be right or prove yourself right. If you could stay on the calm side and say, okay, let my ego step aside and let's start being creative. Let's just sit back and let the mind, the subconscious mind, do its part. How can I make something work? How can this work out better? How can I find a better way of doing something? And when you start to utilize this part of your mind in everyday life, whether it be, you know, what you do for money, just dealing with people in general, you start to realize that there's a whole new spectrum of thinking, a whole new way of living that you didn't realize was out there. And that's really what I try to convey, or I do convey with Project Mindset, because people need to understand that there is a better way. And that's why I created the whole thing here, the Project Mindset. And the Internet is a better way. Working on the Internet is a better way. And not working in the corporate world, dealing with the corporate ego-minded people is a better way of living too, because then you're not frustrated all the time. You can actually move through your life in stride and confidence, and know that you're doing better for yourself and others. So yeah, when I created Project Mindset, the idea was to find a better way to live, and to help other people find a better way right alongside that. And you know, how you use Project Mindset is really up to you, but I can tell you one thing: it is a better way. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and you know, I really hope I can inspire you in some way, shape, or form. If you want to find out more about Project Mindset, just click on the link below this video, and like to hear more from you. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.